now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
But we're going to do the best we can until we get him. Aaron, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Got
well,
a new position really quick.
That's the way you have to be talented and ready to take advantage of the situation. We're really fortunate to have a special guest with us this morning. She's my friend. She's Jean Lee. And I'm not going to try to say her last name. I've always messed it up. But she's Jean Lee to me. And she worked with the Major League Youth Foundation for Major League Baseball. Jean, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Roger. Nice to join you and Aaron this morning. Thank you for the invitation. And it's the Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association Youth Development Foundation. That is a mouthful, just like my last name, Lee-Batrus. And most people in the industry in my career life have known me as Jean Lee, and I took the leap a few years ago, decided to adopt my husband's last name, and I probably should have just kept it Jean Lee.
For me, anyway, it would have been a lot simpler. I butcher it all the time, but it's through love. It's not meant to be harmful. But I want to talk about some of the things that you and your program does, along with Major League Baseball and the Players Association. Y'all do a lot of things to help disadvantaged kids in the community. And I just attended 2 events that you had a prominent hand in the HBCU Swingman Classic in Seattle. That took place during the All-Star Weekend in Seattle, Washington, and then the Hank Aaron Invitation in Vero Beach, Florida. Can you elaborate on what has been your involvement with those 2 programs?
Yes, well, the Youth Development Foundation, otherwise known as YDF, it's a joint initiative of MLB and the Players Association, otherwise known as the union. And we've been around since 2016, but I came in as the first executive director in 2018. And our whole goal is to increase access and reduce barriers to youth baseball and softball. And that's a really important point because, as you know, Roger, the game has just gone very expensive to access, especially in underrepresented communities. But we know that when you include everyone and we have diversity in the game is more interesting, it's played better, and we're able to retain, top athletes. And so YDF does its best to provide grants, underwrite the HBCU Swingman Classic and the Hank Aaron Invitational, which was previously also known as the Elite Development Invitational. And we've given out over 27 million, actually, counting the more recent grants, over 27.25 million grants impacting over 40 states and territories. And that's a pretty impressive amount of support we've given to date.
It is, I know. And the Swingman Classic is something you just added to your portfolio within the last year with Ken Griffey Jr. and Major League Baseball. Can you talk about that?
Yes, we're really proud of this new inaugural event that, kicked off in Seattle, and what a better place than to introduce that to the world than with my YDF Global Ambassador, Ken Griffey Jr. And it will return to every All-Star Week. So stay tuned next year when we go to Texas. That should be magnificent in the hub of HBCU territory. And, it was important, for Junior to give back to baseball. He grew up in the game under his father, had that type of access and mentoring, and not all young people have that. And he felt that it was his time because his father did so much for the game. And so Junior, my dear friend, and I have been talking about this initiative for 2 years. And we felt that there are really strong HBCU baseball's programs. And you know that better than me, Roger, with your track record as a HBCU Hall of Famer coach and what you did with Ricky Weeks. But we gave access and elevated the talent of 50 Division I players from HBCU schools and gave them the opportunity on a major league stage, a world stage, to be featured. So they could be scouted. And we had a few actually make it into the draft, which was wonderful. But this event was more than just about baseball. It was a multi-day event where these young scholar athletes were able to access leadership, mentorship, community service. And all those elements are important because not everyone will make it, to the major leagues. But we want to retain them in our industry. We want to present other opportunities where they can work, either as a scout or in the front office, in analytics or broadcasting. So many great opportunities. So it's important to try to mentor these leaders on and off the field.
I think that's an area that is so often overlooked with what you all do with the stuff that are not baseball on the field related. All the other opportunities that are available in Major League Baseball, especially for young minorities, particularly women. Can you really go down that road, talk to us how more and more women are getting involved with activities that are not on the baseball field?
Well, outside of the baseball field, I'm, proud to, share that at Major League Baseball and also at the Players Association, we're very supportive of having a diverse workforce. We know that when you have diversity on the board or on staff, you make a stronger company. You make a stronger company culture by bringing new perspectives, right? New skills and talents. And so at Major League Baseball, there are, efforts and tracks to elevate women in all fields, whether that's, finance, to, human resources, legal. I'm also in, league economics in the space of, DE&I, philanthropy. It's a little bit of everything. And, having women in the space to move the needle forward has been a really positive thing for us in that type of inclusion. So thank you for, bringing that up, Roger. It's really important to try to highlight the women who are working in the space. And, our friend Kim Ng, what a great position, right? That, she's doing so well as the general manager of the, a major league team, and has just really been a trailblazer for the rest of us. We're really proud to have her as part of our industry. So we hope to see more and more women being involved and also trickling all the way down to on the field with YDF's initiative supporting young women in softball and also baseball.
Yeah. I saw Kim and I served on the diversity committee under then Commissioner Bud Selig. So we had a lot of good fun together. She and I hit it right off. But last night I was observing the Dodgers play San Diego, and Monet Davis, who was a great hit with on the Little League program, she's joined the Dodgers staff, and she's doing really good. Can you know something about Monet Davis?
Well, I can't call her a friend except that she's been a great supporter of our Hank Aaron Invitational as a sideline reporter in past years, and another great person leading the way in our industry and in her space. So the more positions we have available for women across the country, because when they see, Monet or Kim or myself, that kind of inspiration tells a young person, hey, that person looks like me. I can do it as well. And especially for the three of us, we're also minority females working in the sports industry. And so, I would say we're probably unicorns. And I would hope that, the next, 10, 20 years, we'll see more opportunities to engage women and minority women in this space.
Yeah, I agree. And, representation really, really matters. So it's great seeing more women getting involved. I wanted to go back on the grants and some of the projects you guys have kind of helped or fund. I know looking at the website, you guys have done some stuff with some cities like Compton. I think there was a city in Maryland. Can you talk a little bit about those projects that you guys have funded, and then if someone's listening, how they could apply for one of these grants if they think that they have, something in their city that could really use your organization?
YDF, has given out, like I said, over $27 million. And that's such an impressive number. And when I came into the position to set up the foundation and figure out what was important to us, we really felt that capital projects, which means renovating, baseball, softball fields, building new fields, batting cages, all of this infrastructure, lighting, right, to extend play. If there's a limited time on one field, let's say in a community, expanding those opportunities, programming to support coaches, uniforms, equipment, and then an educational initiative through the lens of teaching our game of baseball and softball, such as like STEM or STEAM. We also had an off-Broadway production, Tony Stone, with Roundabout Theater, that was very successful. So these are a few touch points. So when you talk about our Maryland project and our Compton project, we work with small organizations and, leagues, community-based organizations and nonprofits, also with major league clubs, minor league clubs, larger institutions. And I mention this because I don't want someone listening in and thinking, we only help these big organizations, right, that have the capacity to fill out a grant. It's quite the opposite. We want to find more grassroots organizations that are really in touch with the kids and the families that are doing great work, who can prove their leadership capacity and a proven track record of support, because we know they need it the most, especially during the pandemic. These were the hardest hit organizations that, couldn't float their budgets and continue serving the kids. And we need to ensure that the kids are taken care of, and being active and playing, safely in these facilities, because when we bring baseball and softball to communities, we strengthen the overall community, right? And so what we did in Reed Bird Park, that's a project we had in Baltimore in partnership with a variety of different stakeholders, but the main one is the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation. And so this is a multi-sport field. The NFL also contributed. There's a community center, a fitness center, so there's education once again, right? Drawing in the greater community where there's been a lack of facilities to play. The other project that you had mentioned in Compton was actually in partnership with the LA Dodgers. And so those are the Jackie Robinson fields. They've had some other player supports and institutions involved, but where this is set is in, really like an urban desert where there really aren't other opportunities. You don't see markets, right? If you build baseball and softball complexes where you have the leadership to maintain it, to grow programs and engage the kids there, you can see the transformation overall. There's an interesting project that we're doing in Nashville where you have single-family homes being built, a metro, parkway where the community can run, walk, and bike safely. And then it's also in a food desert. So we foresee more economic empowerment and development happening because of our investment as YDF coming into the space and building, baseball and softball facilities. It's a really, really great, rewarding, and interesting place to be.
Yeah, I love that. And you're touching on the kids before they get to that college level or even high school, and you're grabbing them to hopefully get them, focused on baseball or sticking to it, because they can develop it a little bit more and not go to the other sports because it's so expensive or there's not those resources to hone in on their skills.
That's right. And so anyone listening in should visit our website. That's www.baseballydf.com. And, on that website, you will see the different opportunities, what we fund, what we don't fund, and they can apply with the initial letter of inquiry And that's like a 3-page inquiry where they can talk about their project. There's a budget template. They can fill out information about the costs and submit supporting documentation. And then the YDF team does an internal evaluation, probably will have, interviews or email exchanges. And then from there, if it's a qualifying project, it will move up to an invitation for an application. And that's where the real homework is being done, right? Because the process is competitive. And so we need to make sure that we're vetting appropriately, that we're giving money out to deserving organizations who can carry through the vision and do what they say they're doing. And so we have a thorough process, but I will say that the YDF team, will handhold, will work through with the organization how to get through our application and the budget and the supporting documentations. And then from there, we have quarterly board meetings with Major League Baseball and the Player Association representatives where we have an approval and a review. And so it is, it's a rigorous process, but we also have grants, $10,000 and under, that don't work on this quarterly cycle. And so if someone has a deserving project or something as simply as we need equipment, right? We need equipment for a school, we need equipment for our league, or we need, a pitching machine, or we need some dirt, right, to add into our infield. So even small grants like that, we can move pretty quickly along, but the process still has to be adhered to.
Yeah, and I'm listening to all of the good things you could do. If people get creative in communities and just think, if I can develop a relationship with MLB or YDF, this could be an asset. Never think you're out of the ball game unless you try. See, people have to be willing to try and get information to you all, and then you all can maybe tell them what they need to do as a consequence of them getting in touch with you. Am I correct by going down that road?
That is correct. We want to encourage people to reach out, and even if they're not sure. And so sometimes what I see, Roger, is you have, larger organizations or municipalities contacting YDF because they have the resources and they have the knowledge, right? But it's those mom and pop organizations that I want them to call. I want them to email and tell us about what they're doing on the ground. Right. And oftentimes these are like the really hard-working community-based people who don't want to ask for money, but they should be asking, because if we can support them in some way, then they can grow their programs, right? They can serve more kids and families. We also have to ensure if we're giving money, for that 1 year or a multiple year project, that they also have the business plan, the sustainability and capacity to fundraise afterwards. Because once you grow the program, there's just more expenses, right? More kids to serve, more coaches to bring on. And unfortunately, YDF cannot be alongside an organization, in perpetuity. And so we have to make sure that that organization is in a healthy standing and to support them for future years on. So I always like to think of this as, giving them the tools, right, and teaching them how to fish and not fishing for them. And that's a really important point, because we don't want to act as the Band-Aid solution. We really want to ensure these organizations are surviving and staying in the game for the kids. And we're not about check cutting either. Sometimes there's like corporate programs, corporate social responsibility programs, but what YDF is we are a thought leadership organization. We are a grant maker and a funder, and we have the two jewel events that we had mentioned, the HBC Swimming Classic and Hank Aaron Invitational, where we're trying to move the needle for underrepresented communities. And I mention this because when we fund, we really create a partnership, right? We're in dialogue throughout the year. We want to know what's going on. We will fly across the country and try to make it to events to see the programs in action. And that's also part of stewardship and making sure the funds are being used in the right way. And so the best projects that I've funded and the best partnerships are the ones where it wasn't necessarily an organization asking for the money, but it was about hitting the road and being, on a plane going somewhere and having meetings and then finding these gems, these really interesting, unique projects and communities that need our help the most. And so it's really no different than a scout, right? Hitting the road and crisscrossing the country trying to find a player. I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I put a lot of miles on during the year. Yeah.
Well, I know on Wednesday, Aaron is setting up a meeting where I'm going to be able to talk to the Baton Rouge
Breck,
recreation department here, and they want to talk about doing some of the same thing you're doing. And I know Erin has been in constant contact with them, so she's finally getting me involved with them so we could see how they can get everything kick-started and do great, because there are a lot of good young athletes in low-income areas or disadvantaged areas. They need someone to just help them to learn the skills and work with them.
We do need to go to break. Jean, could you stay on for a little bit to a couple more questions if we just take a quick break?
Happy to do so.
Okay. Well, we'll be right back.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights, gravitate towards something out of this world, even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Cador. He's the man, the myth, the legend, Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. Aaron, of course, I'm not Aaron, but Aaron, thank you for stepping in. Had a little technical difficulties on my side this morning. Adversity, Coach, like your book says, against all odds. I was dealing with that today.
You know, it's so ironic. My son had the same flat tire on the back, on his car in the back.
This morning?
This morning.
Listen, I don't know what happened yesterday. The flat tire fairy was around just poking tires, I guess. I'm not sure. But, I came in. I caught the conversation that you guys are having. We have Jean Lee-Batrus on here on the show. And good morning, Jean, to you.
Good morning, Terry. I'm glad you made it. Thank you for the invitation to join you this morning.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, and this is my first time being able to speak with you. And I know you guys were talking about diversifying in terms of MLB, but you and Coach have some things that you guys are working on and coming up on here in the future. Talk to us about some of the collaborations that Coach Roger Cador, yourself, and MLB are working on.
Well, we were so pleased to have, Coach Cador in the past, few years join us in Vero Beach at the Jackie Robinson Training Complex. That was a historic Dodger town. He's been a guest speaker talking about his role as an HBCU Hall of Famer coach and his time, with Ricky Weeks, but also just mentoring these young men, ages 13 through 18. The first week we have the younger age groups, and then the second week we have our other group of 125 to 250 young scholar athletes that join us for the Hank Aaron Invitational. And the top 44 make it to the showcase game, which is broadcasted in Atlanta at Truist Park, the Braves ballpark. But, Roger's been a really great addition to our program, provides a lot of insight. But what we had this year is the HBCU Swingman Classic, where the Youth Development Foundation with our YDF Global Ambassador, my dear friend Ken Griffey Jr., hosted this all-star event for 50 Division I HBCU players on a major league field. And as you know, that kicked off in Seattle. We'll return to every all-star week, but Roger joined us. He was part of the selection committee, really provided a lot of insights on recruiting, identifying players, watching these kids on the field. And then while in Seattle, he also participated in a coach's leadership and mentorship panel. A lot of great insights and sharing for these young men. And we had talked about earlier, this segment is not just about playing this game and the skills on the field, but giving these young men a leg forward, because not all of them will make it into the major leagues, but how to keep them in our industry or how to leverage their skills that they've learned through baseball into other jobs and interests that they have.
Sound like you guys have been keeping him busy. I think he's getting younger, not older. You look at this Swingman Classic, an opportunity for HBCU baseball players. And, of course, nobody knows it better than Roger Cador in his 30-plus years, almost 40 years of being around the SWAC, being around HBCU athletes and student athletes, and then sending a lot of them up to the MLB ranks. But you talked about the collaboration of getting MLB more on board, bringing in a guy like Roger Cador, and then you add in a name that everybody knows in terms of Ken Griffey Jr. How can this thing grow? And one of the things I was talking to Coach Cador about, to grow it outside of the realm of just the baseball player, but then opening up doors, maybe internships for actual operations parts that HBCU students can possibly get to start to learn the business and get opportunities on that professional level.
Well, you've hit this point, and that's what we're doing. So the HBCU Swingman Classic was a multi-day event, and we had spoken about this earlier on this podcast. And so we want to make sure that these kids, while we're with them, have access. So, we had a special session as well with the chairman of the Mariners, And he, John Stan, great guy, put together, T-Mobile. So think about that success and what it means. And he was sharing insights in what it takes to be successful in the corporate world. And actually at a place like T-Mobile, they like to recruit athletes because of what they learn through the game. Aside from that, there are internship opportunities at Major League Baseball. There's a concerted effort also to bring in diverse students. At our HBCU Swingman Classic, we had Getty photographers from HBCU schools. We had student reporters through our Chevy relationship, to be engaged. I mean, so every part of this event was thoughtful and intentional. There was an internship and work fair. There were fraternities and sororities from HBCUs that participated and represented. And when we head to Texas for 2024, I would only expect this event to be broader and bigger, engaging more HBCU schools. It's just an easier location to access, but we'll also be in HBCU territory, right? And so I think from this starting point, Perry, that we can ideate and grow and be creative as to how we can use this type of national platform to talk about other issues on diversity and underrepresentation, but also how to engage the broader HBCU community.
What about a HBCU MLB tour? You take Roger Cador on the road and you have him open up everybody's eyes around the South as you get ready to get into Texas and to that Dallas area. And you have Coach Cador tell the story of MLB's relationship with HBCUs. What you think about that? What you think, Coach?
This is why I told you, Gene Lee. This is what he's going to do. He's not going to stay to the script.
I love Terry. You have to be spontaneous, Roger.
I think there's no better representative of HBCUs, especially a guy who sit at the table and understands what it means, as you talked about, being represented. I think a lot of times, especially when you look at MLB, there's no doubt about it. You can get overlooked by the big boys with all the big-time names and teams in the television, but to showcase talent, not only on the baseball field, but in the classrooms, I think at HBCUs, and be able to open up those doors, being able to have that relationship with MLB and have a great representative like Roger Cador, and MLB goes around and has these open door conversations at HBCUs and have that spotlight. Roger Cador and Ken Griffey Jr. at a HBCU. Come on now. You wouldn't tell me that wouldn't be a big event at a Southern, a Grambling, a Jackson State. That would bring everybody out. And I think the local and regional media, look, you got me going. Now I'm starting to, the ideas are flowing. I'm sorry.
It sounds good.
It could be good, especially as she said, bringing the Swingman Classic to the South. Of course, next year, MLB All-Star be in the South. It'll be in the state of Texas. And so to be able to have that opportunity, I think that'd be really good. What you think, Gene? That's something you got to think about a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea because we want to promote and get more of the community involved. But, it's beyond HBCUs, right?
Yeah.
We want the entire public. We want America to get on board.
Yeah.
And that's happening. So bringing this type of diverse event on a national stage, which becomes a world stage, and you have all those eyeballs across the country that are tuning in, that momentum is happening. And there is this movement that we witness, and I see it every day because of the work that I'm doing, that more people are becoming engaged. And so even, Junior has talked about his, former teammates and his friends, in the industry that he played with who aren't necessarily, Black or diverse. And they're asking, well, how can I help? So that's a really beautiful thing where we bring people from, all these different walks of life, right? It doesn't matter who you are, but they want to be part of this excitement. They know it's helping kids. And it's moving the needle forward, and there's true impact that's happening. So the more we can do to promote this and to bring the dialogue to HBCU campuses and beyond, and that's why Roger's involved. Roger will be doing more with Major League Baseball. He'll be involved with more of our events in this upcoming year as well. And I think it's a wonderful idea if we can have iconic people like Roger out there talking about YDF's work and what Major League Baseball and the union are doing.
I like that. I love the idea. Perry White is my name, so don't forget me, Miss Jean. I'm looking at your picture up here on the screen. Wonderful smile. Now, you'll light up a room going in and being able to talk to people the way you're talking to us this morning. We want to thank you for joining us this morning. I know you got to get ready to go. Busy schedule ahead of you, but definitely thank you for coming on and being able to have this conversation and opening up people's eyes and get them an opportunity to hear about the deeper things that's going on with MLB, the partnership, and as well as with Coach Roger Cador.
And why Youth Development Foundation. Don't forget that.
The Youth Development Foundation.
It's not just MLB and the Players Association. Did I get it right, Gene?
You've got it, Roger. You're a pro. You are the perfect person.
I've learned
to help represent our job.
I've learned I can't leave anybody out. Got to include all inclusive.
Well, thank you, Gene, this morning for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And don't be a stranger here to the show. Definitely welcome back anytime. Open invitation.
Thank you, Perry. It was great having this conversation. Thank you for being so interested in the work that we're doing. It's really good stuff.
All right, thank you. Let's get ready to take a break.
Gene,
we'll come
you're
back.
the best, dear. Thanks so much. We'll be talking.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and continue the conversation tomorrow, chopping it up with Coach Cador. All right?
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place for that too. Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Brack, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. I'm Perry White. He's Roger Cador. I'm a man on the board. Garrett Edgerton. Want to thank Jean Lee-Batrus. Jean Lee-Batrus. There we go. Say it with me, Coach. Batrus.
Jean
Lee-Batrus. Of MLB and the MLB-PA Youth Development Foundation. Great to have her on to be able to talk to us about, of course, the Hank Aaron Invitational, the inaugural HBCU Swingman Classic with, of course, Ken Griffey Jr. and Roger Cador, Coach, being right there at the forefront of being there to make that thing happen, Coach. Like I'm saying, everything it seems like you're being involved in, you're getting younger, man. It feels like it. You're looking younger. You're glowing. You done got rid of all the hair. You don't have the mustache and the hair on your head, and it's just like you're getting younger, man. Has anybody told you that?
Well, only you. But, you know, the thing is, the thing about working with MLB is that they're so progressive in their thinking, and everything is so well organized.
Yeah.
And it's easy. It's structure. Things are structured, and you fit in. It's like putting a glove on, literally. So they ask me for my opinion because they know I have a lot of experience with HBCUs and working with kids, and they value that. They value. That's why they brought me in to do that kind of work. So, and it's no egos. That's really. I was talking with Tony Regan a couple of days ago, and I was telling them there is no egos on the committees I work on. It's all about the young people. Trying to make MLB better, trying to help the kids get more opportunities, putting them in the right situation. So there it is.
Aaron, you did a good job. Aaron was like, I'm going to get back to Perry with it, but Aaron did a good job. I enjoyed listening to it. And, most of all, Coach, when you look at opportunities of dealing with MLB and you're talking about organized and no egos, I think when you got your money together, that helps out a lot when you have the resources where it's not everybody trying to pull and everybody seems to be trying to get the title or everybody's trying to get the accolades. Let's work together and make this thing successful no matter what your job and party is.
I think you nailed it, because when people come into that space, they pretty much understand why they're being brought into the space. It's not about them, because they're the people who is about above you. And then realize it's not about them. And let me tell you, I work with some people who are in the Hall of Fame, in Baseball Hall of Fame at the Major League level. And I swear they're just as meek as could be. And they're kind people. They just,
yeah,
and it's not about title.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they call me and say you're a Hall of Famer, I'm really just a regular person at the end of the day. And I know that if I don't do the right thing, I ain't going to be able to progress.
That's it. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll get ready to close out the show. And just quick segment, and then we'll close it out. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be back with more of Chopping It Up with Coach Cador.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place. Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
With over 60 years of combined experience, Kathy Sherburne and Anna Barnett bring a wealth of knowledge and excitement to the framing industry. Keeping strong to the Louisiana culture, Acadian Frame and Art has numerous local artists and sports team memorabilia for their customers to choose from. Whether you're creating a gallery-like setting in your office or simply looking for some fun art for your kids' playroom, Acadian Frame and Art is your one-stop picture framing spot. Call 225-927-6129 or go to www.acadianframe.com.
All right, we're back with more of Chopping It Up with Cador. Of course, I'm Perry White. He's the man, the myth, the legend. The Hall of Famer is he does not like to be called, but he has that title. Roger Cador, my man on the board, is Garrett Edgerson. Coach, interesting conversation. We're talking off air about people in workplaces, professional settings. When you're typically a coach, does it matter? Because Deion Sanders, actually, Coach Prime at Colorado, just talked about this in a recent press conference, saying, no matter what your opinions are of me, no matter what people think about me, I am who I am regardless of what you say. I've been him. I'm always going to be him. For you being a coach, criticism comes along with that. I think that's how you and I first kind of hit it off, through constructive criticism. And at the same time, but being a coach, how much does that matter if you say people like or don't like you when you're a head coach?
Well, some people are going to like you and some people are going to not like you. I think that's just the way things are in the world. The thing is, you just can't let the ones that disagree with you play a major role in how you move and how you do stuff. You got it? Because there are family members who are not going to like you.
You're right about that.
I mean, so let's be realistic. So it's okay. But I think some situation people get criticized for a lot of the wrong reason. They don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So they make a boo-boo, a mess up, and they criticize them to no end. Nobody's perfect. So you have to judge them based upon that. Coaches make mistakes too, and they deserve forgiveness.
Yeah. I saw two guys that obviously didn't like each other in Major League Baseball over the weekend. Did you guys see the fight? Did you see that? Garrett?
Yeah.
What was the guys' names?
Tim got smacked.
Anderson and
Tim got smacked. Oh,
What's their names?
Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson and I don't know the other. I just know Tim, and Tim got it.
the third baseman for Cleveland.
Now,
I want to say Santiago, but it's not. He's Ramirez.
Yeah. Now, okay, he slides into second. I'm still trying to figure out what seemed to have sparked that. What do you think, Coach? That seemed to have sparked that because it looked like a simple, basic play, but then it obviously.
Well, the
turned out to be
conversation
different.
was that he said to Tim. Ramirez said to Tim that you've been tagging our players too hard, and that was what it was about.
So he's just basically smacking them.
Well, they do tag people hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the game. It's not illegal.
Yeah. Is that anything for you as a coach and a former Major League Baseball player to say that's something to be a little bit upset about?
No, it's been happening forever. People put the tag on a hard tag.
What they do, Coach?
I mean, they just don't try to put it in places in your face.
Yeah.
In places where they can do harm.
Mhm.
But they can put a hard tag on the body.
Mm-hmm.
Let you know I'm putting a tag on you.
He didn't seem to be too happy about that.
Well, he said, that's why he said, you were doing it to don't you do it to me? And he said, do you want to fight? And that's when it all started.
Why did he say that? Because it didn't last too long for
Oh, they never last long in baseball. It's the worst.
Man, Tim got knocked out, boy.
He did.
He hit him with that right, and it was over.
He caught a seat real quick. That's the stuff I think that, unfortunately, violence is not what you want to see. But it brought some excitement to Major League Baseball over the weekend.
Hey, this whole weekend has been
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Chairs yesterday. Yeah, look, man.
Look, you ain't see that one. I have to show you that one. That's a whole nother case. But,
boy.
That's the excitement that I was talking about. Weren't we talking about this a couple weeks ago when I was bringing up hockey and I said, is this good or bad for the game? Because I know kids watch baseball. Kids love baseball, right? But when they see this type of stuff, you can't help but get up and be like, hey, I've been waiting on just a little excitement in this, right?
You wanted that excitement. You got it.
You definitely got it. Tim
I
got
mean,
it too.
and
it wasn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
It was a disagreement, and they tried to resolve it. Maybe not the right way, but it was quick.
It was.
No one got hurt, and it was baseball at its traditional self. People grabbing each other.
And what happened is it created a buzz. Social media, television, everybody was talking about Major League Baseball. And I don't think Major League Baseball got lost in the scuffle, but it was just the fact that there seemed to be an excitement about it. It's like in football when you get a hard hit and you're talking about that hard hit like, ooh, all weekend and everybody's talking about it. To me, that's what this brought. This brought like a spark of energy into baseball over the weekend.
Of all the things we could talk about, that's what you want to talk about. Huh?
Everybody's talking about it, so I said I cannot let this get by, especially I had just brought this up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, baseball back, baby. I know as a coach, you talking about the plays, and, you want to make sure just more so did he tag him and get him. I understand. But when you add that extra element, the bullpen clears out. You start to see all this. The fans can't help but get up and enjoy it. I saw something else that was interesting. Did you see the video that went viral? I don't know if you saw it either, Garrett, of the guy who jumped down from the stands, went out to outfield, talked to the left fielder, the right fielder. Then the security came and chased him, and he climbed up the wall at outfield, climbed up another wall, and got away and ran through the stadium. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man, the fans loved it. They ate every minute of that up. Did you see that?
You wait till they catch him. He's going to have the legal system will deal with him.
Yeah, that's why I saw another one where a dude actually had security. He had like a mock Secret Service when he ran on the field, so they blocking the people from getting to him.
Oh, that's real thought out. And I think what I love about baseball, what is it, the freeze? When everybody tries to race the freeze.
Yeah, that's the Braves. The Braves do the freeze.
Oh, man, have you seen the freeze?
I've seen it. I like that.
It is hard to beat him. I don't care how long of a head start you have. The last guy I think they said he tried to fly to finish, but unfortunately he tripped and fell at the last minute.
It's not breaking the law.
It's not.
You can't have people just coming out of the stand on the field is dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
In the world we live in, the society we live in. So that the freeze I like.
We might have to do. I got the fall beat Lacumba.
Oh.
Beat Lacumba.
I don't know who can run in that Lacumba suit. Look, I think Coach
might
can
be
beat
our
Lacumba.
I'm not trying to. There's nothing for me to prove in that arena.
But people would love it. They was like, did you see Coach Cador run?
He's not going to give him a chance to say, let somebody else do it. You know, I want to pass it a sad, one of my former teammates passed away over the weekend. Lee Richard. We played in 70-71 at Southern. Was the sixth player taken in the 71 draft by the White Sox.
The sixth player?
Shortstop can really play, and he passed away this weekend. So if any of the former players out there listening, maybe they could get it out to some of his teammates somewhere across this country.
Man, that's sad to hear. You talking about the sixth player, man. That's really good. It's a lot of history sometimes that we just don't talk about, and guys like you and many others are a part of that history to be able to tell those stories. And I'm sorry to hear about your teammate, man. Talk about what kind of teammate he was during that time at Southern.
Well, he was extremely talented. I mean, he could run, throw, didn't hit that well, but boy, did he have big league talent. I mean, he was above average in his running, throwing, and fielding. So he had 3 of the 5 above average tools you need. That's why he was the sixth player taken. The history about HBCUs, things like that are not written.
Yeah.
And it's good that I'm still here to be able to tell the story for the people who have an interest in knowing the story. And this the kind of players we had at Southern. Not only did I have him, but I played with Danny Goodwin, who was the very first player taken in the draft in 1975. I mean, just how many people can say that they played with that kind of talent?
And then still found room for you to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find room. It was room for me, And
imagine this HBCU Swingman Classic back in the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, my goodness.
It probably would have been bigger than the All-Star game itself almost.
It would have been. That's the kind of talent that existed. And we were playing with wooden bats.
What did you think as time, and we get ready to close this thing out, the wooden bats and, of course, the aluminum bats?
Well, obviously, they said it went for budget-wise, the aluminum bat certainly lasts longer where you break a lot more wooden bat. But for scouts, you can tell more about the quality of the kid swinging the bat with a wooden bat than an aluminum bat. You can't get jam and knock the ball out the park with a wooden bat. You might do it with an aluminum bat, But you can tell it's a lot more. The ball comes off. And the sound.
Yeah.
You could hear a certain sound of the wooden bat, It's just something. So
that crack.
And it probably would allow pitchers to pitch more inside. Now pitchers are afraid to pitch inside because, guys can muscle it out. So it changed the game a lot. But it is what it is. We live and adjust to whatever the situation gives us.
You ever broken a wooden bat at the plate?
I played with wooden bat. I didn't.
I said, did you ever break one?
I didn't play with aluminum.
Have you ever broken a wooden bat?
Oh, many.
I know you ain't out there breaking aluminum bats now.
Oh, okay.
But, the wooden ones, you always get that one when they crack, They had that time, was it pine tar they was using on the wooden bats too? Yeah.
Well, back in the days, the wood was better.
Yeah.
As you get closer to now, the wood is not as strong.
Yeah, okay.
Because the trees they're getting them from ain't 40 years old, 50, 60 years old. Back in the days, the trees were 100 years old, so the wood's going to be stronger. Ted Williams used one bat the whole year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a strong bat. All right, we've reached the end of today's episode, man. It has been a great one. Want to thank Gene for coming on and talking to us from MLB and the MLB-PA Youth Development Foundation, explaining all the great things from not only the Hank Aaron Invitational, but the HBCU Swingman with Ken Griffey Jr., as well as the man, the myth, the legend right here, Roger Cador, and all the collaborations that's going on. Thank Aaron for coming on and stepping in for me this morning. Against all odds, like the book says, I was up against it this morning. Patience was being tested, but guess what? I think dealing with Coach, I was able to handle it. I said a little prayer, Coach, and I went ahead and went along with it. Thank my man Garrett Edgerson on the board, as always, making sure we're straight. And thank you guys out there, the viewers that is always paying attention and joining in with us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there underneath the video. Coach Cador is always looking for that subscribe button, so y'all hit that button right there, get that notification anytime we go live. And Coach, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, nothing much. Let's looking forward to next week's show. Hopefully we could we may try to get another guest for next week.
Yeah.
I like the way the guest went. And maybe we can bring Aaron back.
Okay. We can bring Aaron back. I sit back and I just cut the fan on, make sure everybody stays cool because it's hot out there. And everybody, y'all stay hydrated. Enjoy your week. We thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, it's Chop It Up with Cador. I'm Perry White. He's Roger Cador. My man on the board, Garrett Edgerson.